नमस्कार, म गोविन्द रिजाल। धेरै समयको अन्तरालपछि म कृषि बहस एग्रिकल्चर डिस्कसन लिएर फेरि उपस्थित भएको छु र आजको बहसमा ग्रीन बियर्ड इफेक्ट विषयमा प्रस्तुति छ। यो ग्रीन बियर्ड कृषिमा मात्रै सीमित नभएर अरू पनि क्षेत्रहरू मानव सभ्यतादेखि लिएर मानव अध्ययन, सोसियोलोजी, साइकोलोजी र विभिन्न अरू क्षेत्र जहाँ मानव र मानव सभ्यताको कुरा आउँछ त्यस क्षेत्रमा पनि यो विषयको अध्ययन भएकोले गर्दा शब्द सुन्न अलिकति अनौठो भए पनि हामी चित परिचित कन्टेन्टबाटै सुरु गर्नेछौँ र आजको प्रस्तुता हुनुहुन्छ विज्ञान केसी, मास्टर स्कलर हुनुहुन्छ, त्रिभुवन युनिभर्सिटीसँग आबद्ध हुनुहुन्छ र उहाँबाट धेरै थोर कुराहरू बुझिएपछि हामी त्यसपछि छलफल गर्नेछौँ। हजुरलाई नबुझेका कुराहरू, चित्त नबुझेका अर्थात् सुझाव सजेसन्स के छ भने प्रस्तुतिपछि दिन सक्नुहुनेछ। म धेरै कुरा नगरिकन विज्ञान केसीलाई अगाडि बोलाउन चाहन्छु। विज्ञानजी, हजुरको छोटो परिचय दिएर अनि त्यहाँदेखि विषय प्रवेश गर्नुहोस् न।
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for the nice introduction. So, it is me, Vigyan Kesi. I am currently doing my master's in plant breeding and genetics, and I live in Puja, Kathmandu. So, I'll be sharing my screen.
Okay.
So, can you see my slides?
Okay, go ahead. सुरु गर्नुहोस् सर।
Okay, sir. So, good morning, everyone. This is me, Vigyan Kesi, presenting on the green beard effect. So, I'd like to welcome all the teachers, respected teachers, and the others friends to my presentation, which is entitled as green beard effect. So, first of all, I'd like to thank Mr. our teacher, our respected teacher, Dr. Govind Rizal sir, for giving me this opportunity to present in this platform. So now I like to start my presentations. So as the name suggests, green beard, it is not as the beard being green, but it has totally different meaning than that. So let's dive into to know what actually the green beard is. So as we know in nature, there are different animals competing with each others, and also there are full of animals which are helping each other out. So one of the best examples for this helping behavior is shown by the Mirkot Corporation. So here you can see over there in the picture that there is a innocent type of creature over there, which is called a Mirkot. So while foraging, while in group foraging, one of the individuals of these Mirkot goes to the vintage point and look after for the enemies. So while doing so, it is sacrificing its foraging time or its food, valuable foraging time, and also risking its own life because while giving alarm calls to its friends or its group, it is attracting the enemies towards him or herself. So this this nature or the helping nature of this Mirkot is actually defined by the term altruism. So this means selfless concerns for the welfare of others. So, but why should animals be kind to each other? So in order to find this answer, we have to go through the Charles Darwin's theory, that is survival of the fittest. So according to the Charles, the fittest organism will be selected by nature, or the organism which can reproduce can be selected by nature. But this theory expect that the animals to be competing with each others, but rather competing, they are just helping each other out, just like in Mirkot. So this altruistic behavior puzzled Charles Darwin, and there was he could not explain the altruistic behavior of some animals. So the more than a century later, Hamilton developed the insight into the modern theory of inclusive fitness. So according to him, the ultimate criteria for a gene to be favored by a natural selection is if it increases the frequency of copies of itself among future generation. So he gave the concept that despite of animal or creature or the individual being fetus, it is the gene that is selected by the nature, and if the gene has ability to increase its frequency or its copies of itself to the future generation, then it is favored by natural selections. So the individuals can increase their gene copies of gene or pass their gene to the next generation by the two ways. That is, first by direct fitness benefit, that is increasing their own fitness, that is an individual can reproduce its offspring and pass its gene copies of gene to the next generation by reproduction. And second, by indirect fitness benefit, that is increasing the fitness of others, that is who carry the same copies of same gene. So here actually the actor is helping the recipient which have same gene. So it is helping the actor might sacrifice their life while helping the recipient, but the recipient has the copies of same gene that of actor. So the recipient will be reproducing and will be helping to pass the copies of genes to the next generations. So Hamilton, hence altruism can be B is indirect fitness benefit, and the C is direct fitness cost, and R is the coefficient of relatedness. So so this equation, the Hamilton gave this equation RB greater than C. So this can be actually understood detailedly by with the help of example of B. So in B, there is like worker and queens. So the worker are totally sterile and the queens are fertile. So so the worker in B, they just protect queen from the enemies, and they, while protecting queen, they might lose their life or they might sacrifice their life. So the sacrifice that the workers do is totally worthy, because the queen is carrying the same gene as that of worker, and that is why the alive queen will be reproducing and passing their passing the copies of gene to the next generation. So the cost of sacrification of worker is nothing as compared to the queen's life. So that is, so the direct fitness cost of worker, that is C, is less than that of indirect fitness benefit of queen. So that is why the altruism is favored in that case. That is why the worker is being altruistic towards the queen. So so also the Hamilton focused that the natural selection tries to maximize their inclusive fitness. That is, the inclusive fitness means the sum of direct fitness benefit plus indirect fitness benefit. The nature will try to maximize these two benefits. So in nature, most altruism is seen between the genealogical relatives. That means within the family members and within the relatives, which is determined by the R, that is coefficient of relatedness. That's if the actor and recipient are closely related, then the altruism is favored, and if they are less related, then the altruism is less likely to be favored between them. So apart from the relatives altruism or the family altruism, the individuals they recognize another individuals which are totally unrelated individuals, and they try to help each other out, which is termed as green beard effect. So apart from genealogical altruism, altruists may also have some way to recognize altruistic behavior in unrelated individuals and be inclined to support them, which is called green beard effect. So in this green beard effect concept, actor which is altruistic in nature is able to determine another altruistic recipient, and that actor will be helping that recipient. So this is the concept of green beard effect. So they are totally unrelated individuals, like they are not relatives or the family members, but they are totally unrelated individuals and they are helping each other out. So the green beard effect is the act of a gene or a several closely linked genes. So the green beard effect is governed by a gene or a set of closely linked genes that gives rise to a conspicuous phenotype like a green beard. So here a gene or the green beard gene is giving a phenotype, a distinct phenotype, a externally visible indicator like green beard. So actually the green beard, the term green beard is a connotation for the phenotype. So it is not a literal meaning. So it denotes the phenotype. So that gene uses this phenotypic marker to discriminate between carriers and non-carriers of the gene. So with the help of this phenotype, a carrier or actor is able to discriminate which person or individuals is bearded or non-bearded, or which individuals is carrier of the gene or the non-carrier of the gene, and that leads the individuals to behave nepotistically towards other carriers of the genes at a personal cost to himself. So actually the green beard is determined by a gene or the set of closely linked genes. And here in figure we can see over here that actor has a green beard. That means he is carrying a gene, green beard gene, and he is able to recognize another bearded individuals. That means he or she might be the carrier of green beard gene, and you can totally discriminate between bearded and non-bearded individuals. So the actor will be either helping that bearded person or individuals, or it might be harming the non-bearded or the non-carriers of the gene. So either way the actor is increasing the chance of the gene to be passed to the next generation. If the actor is helping green bearded individuals, then then the green bearded individuals will have much more ability to survive and reproduce and pass the gene to the next generation. But if it is harming the non-bearded individuals, then the non-bearded individuals will be likely to have less chance to survive, and it will directly benefit to the bearded individuals, because there will be less competition for the things. So the bearded individuals will be passing that genes, the copies of genes, to the next generation. So the idea of green beard was given by William D. Hamilton in his landmark article of 1964, and the name of green beard was given by Richard Dawkins in his classical book The Selfish Gene in 1976. Hence, the crucial requirement for green beard effect is genetic relatedness rather than genealogical relationship at the altruism locus, rather than over the whole genome. So if if actor and recipient are having green beard genes, that means they are related only in the altruism locus or in the green beard locus, and not in the whole genome. So in case of genealogical relationship, the actor and recipient or the family members or the relatives are partly or wholly related with the genome. But in case of green beard effect, the individuals are only related at the altruism locus. So why to help others by sacrificing own life? So in order to so this question answer as a prominent issue long after the Darwin's death, and it remained an issue after the Darwin's death, and the solution came after the Dawkins' gene's eye view of evolution. So according to him, evolution isn't really about the survival of the fittest organisms, rather it is about the survival of the fittest gene. So according to the Dawkins, the nature will be selecting the fittest gene rather than the fittest organisms. So it is all about the, so evolution is all about the survival or the passing of the fittest gene, not the fittest organism. So so the nature will be selecting that fittest gene which is able to make copies of themselves in the next generation and pass that copies to the next generation. So there are 4 types of green beard: facultative helping, obligate helping, facultative harming, and obligate harming. So in facultative helping, a green beard individual will be only helping the green bearded recipient and not the non-green bearded individual. So it has no relationship with the non-bearded individuals. But in obligate helping, the green bearded person or individuals is helping both bearded and non-bearded individuals, but only the bearded individuals is able to take that help, but not the non-bearded individuals. So in facultative harming, the green beard individuals is harming only the non-bearded individuals, and it is neutral towards the uh, green bearded individuals. So in obligate harming, it is the green bearded individuals is harming both the non-bearded and bearded individuals, but only the effect of harm is gained by or obtained by the non-bearded individuals, but it has no effect on the bearded individuals. So either way, the green bearded individual is helping the carrier of green beard genes to be passed to the next generation and increasing its survival chances, and so that they can reproduce and pass their genes to the next generation. So it is all about the passing of the fittest gene, not the fittest individual. So does green beard exist in nature? So most of the peoples, including Dawkins, thought the concept of green beard as a fantasy. So the main reasons behind it is that single gene. It is thought that single gene is unable to possess all 3 properties. So the 3 properties is which we have already discussed, that that a gene should show a conspicuous phenotype, and it should discriminate between carriers and non-carriers of the genes, and it should act altruistically towards the carrier of the gene. And it was thought back then that the gene is unable, or a single gene is unable to possess all those 3 properties. So despite seeming fantastical or the imaginary, in recent years there has been a discovery of real green beards in the nature. So in 1998, the first green beard gene was actually found in the red important fire ant, that is in Solenopsis invicta. So let's discuss the green beard in fire ant. So in green beard, new queens recruit into nest after dominating queens mate. So after the dominating mating of the dominating queens, there is the requirement of new queens recruitment. So this is done by the workers. So workers with heterozygous BB allele at the GP9 locus use order to determine whether to kill the recruiting queen or not to kill the recruiting queen. So the workers with BB allele will preserve that queen with the heterozygous BB allele. That is means the same allele of workers and queens, and the worker will not kill that queen. But if the queen is having other than heterozygous BB allele, they will be killing that queen. So they are not able to detect the alleles between queens, but they use order to determine whether to kill the queen or not to kill that queen. So the order is actually coming from the queen's cuticles. So they will be detecting the order from the queen's cuticles, and they will be deciding which one to kill. So here the green beard is order which is coming from the queen's cuticle, and the green beard genes is GP9 gene. So also it has been found that scientists has found that robbing a worker against a homozygous dominant BB queen causes it to be attacked by the workers, whereas robbing it against the heterozygous BB queens does not. So, so the scientists robbed workers with the queen's cuticles of heterozygous BB allele, and it was been found that the workers does not attack that worker which is robbed against the queen with heterozygous BB allele. And if the worker is robbed against the cuticles of the queens other than heterozygous BB allele, then they are immediately attacked by the workers and it will die. So in this way, the scientists knew that the green beard inferent was the order. So green beard in amebia. So in Dictyostelium discoideum, during the lacking of food, during the condition of lacking of food, the amebia come and they aggregate with each other and form sturdy stack, which can be shown in over here in the pictures. And that means during the lacking of food conditions, the number of amebia will aggregate and come and join with each other in order to form sturdy stack. So during that process, some of the amebia, the cell sacrifice altruistically. That means they give up their life willingly to help others to disperse and find a new food source. So they are altruistically giving their life in order to help others and survive. So why they are doing these things actually? So a gene that sits on the surface of a sacrificed cells is able to stick to copies of itself on other cells and exclude cells that don't match from the group. So actually the cell which is altruistically sacrificing its life has gene on the surface of its cells. So that gene is able to recognize its copies in other cells. So if the gene is matching, then that cell, sacrificing cell, will help other cells to attach to itself and form a sturdy stack. If the gene is not matching, then the cells which does not have matching gene will not be able to form a sturdy stack, and they will be left out for the starvation and they will die. So actually, a gene on the sacrifice cell is a green beard over here, because it is determining which gene is forming sturdy stack and which gene is not forming sturdy stack, and which and it is determining which gene will be passed to the next generation and which gene is left behind. So this enables the gene to ensure that a cell sacrifice to form the stack is not in vain, as the cells that it is helping will all possess copies of the gene. So the sacrification of that amebia cell is worthy because it is helping its own copies to survive and to find food, so that they can reproduce and pass the genes to the next generation. So it is not helping those gene or the cell which don't match to that gene. So the green beard in yeast. So in yeast there is a process called flocculations, which means the formation of flocks of flakes of yeast in order to protect from harmful chemicals. So you can see over here there is a picture over here in where there is a flocculations of the yeast cells. That means they are aggregating with each other, they are like joining with each other to protect to be protected from harmful chemicals. And over here they are not joining or they are not aggregating over here. So the flocculation process is caused by a protein which is the product of the gene FLOA1. So there is a cost of flocculations to the yeast cells. That means if the yeast cell is producing protein, or if the FLON gene is expressing itself, then there is a cost for the cells. That means the cell will be growing much more slowly than the cells that do not produce this protein. So the cells which are producing protein or which are expressing the gene FLON ON are growing much more slowly than that do not produce the protein. But there is much more benefit than that of cost. That means the cells which are in the flocculent or which are in the flocculation process are inside the flock, and they can only survive and they can pass the altruistic gene to the next generation. But the cells which are not in the process of flocculations or which does not express FLON gene, they are not they do not form flocculant, and if they are exposed to the harsh chemicals, then they will die and they will not be able to pass their gene to the next generation. So it is all about the passing the gene or the fetus gene to the next generation. So the green beard gene over here is FLON gene. So you can see over here the gene, the cells of yeast with FLON gene, and they are recognizing each other, and they are like coming to stick to each other, like they are trying to form the flocculation process by the process of additions. So the green beard in Ascomycetes fungi, that is in Neurospora crassa. So in Neurospora crassa, there is the fusion of asexual spores, that is germlings, in order to have benefits, that is a reproductive division of liver and benefits from sharing organelles and nutritional resources. So this somatic fusion is actually mediated by the gene DOC1, DOC2, and DOC3 link genes that produce cell surface receptors that predict whether or not strains will successfully fuse together. So if the fungi is having these DOC1, DOC2, or DOC3 link genes, then they will be fused to each other. And if the fungi is not having these genes, then they are not able to fuse, and they will not be able to get the benefit of reproductive division of liver and benefit of sharing organelles and nutritional resources, and they will have less chance of survival, and they will be not able to pass their gene to the next generation. So the green beard gene over here is DOC1, DOC2, and DOC3 link genes. So in the figure you can see over here that the fungi, the asexual spores of the fungi are communicating, and they are like doing the chemotropism, cell wall remodeling, and plasma merger and cytoplasmic mixing. So the green beard in saltwater hydra. So you can see over here these are the saltwater hydra, and they are living in colonies. So in hydra, there is the process of fusion of colonies. So the two colonies of hydra will be fused in order to get benefit, that is strong spatial competitions. So the fusion of colonies is mediated by the gene ALR1 or and ALR2 locus, which encodes transmembrane proteins that bind to each other. So if colonies share both alleles, they will fuse permanently, and if they don't have these alleles, then there will be rejection response. So while fusion, if these gene ALR1 and ALR2 matches, then the two colonies will be fused. So the fusion will be characterized by ectodermal cell addition and establishment of continuous gastrovascular system. So here we can see there is the in hydra there is the canals which are called gastrovascular canals. So these are the two colonies of hydra, and they are fusing with each other. So while zooming out over here, we can see that the two colonies are like fusing with the by the gastrovascular canals. That means they are connecting their gastrovascular canals and they are fusing with each other. So in contrast, in the case of rejection, that means if the colonies does not have this ALR1/ALR2 gene, then there will be the rejection reaction, which is characterized by failure of ectodermal cells to adhere and extensive recruitment of nematocytes to contact sites in order to destroy the foreign tissues. So while in figure D, we can see the rejection reaction where the two colonies are like developing or recruiting nematocytes, which is the arrowhead. Like we can see over here, which is shown by the arrowhead. These are the nematocytes which are trying to destroy the foreign tissue. That means the colonies are trying to destroy each other if the rejection reaction is occurred. So the green beard gene over here is ALR1 / ALR2. So this is the reaction. So can a plant be altruistic? So we have discussed about the microorganisms. So so there is the curiosity over here that if whether the plant can be altruistic or not. So there is a plant called yellow geolwood, which is found inside the dark forest or inside the deep inside the forest, and it is grown in the soil with a rich nutrient. So due to the lack of sunlight, it will be competing with its neighbors by allocating resources to the leaves. So it will be allocating all the nutrients to its leaf and increasing its leaf numbers and the branches, so that it can increase its canopy area and compete with others neighbor by giving the shading effect. So researchers have found that the response of this plant is different depending upon whether the plant is grown with relatives or with strangers. So when the plant is grown with its close relatives, then there is no resource allocation to roots or leaves. That means it is not increasing its leaf number or the branches, or it is not increasing its canopy area, but it is using that nutrients to increase stem elongation. So there is no shading effect to the relatives. So it is not harming its relatives because it is not giving that shading effect to the relatives. But when it is grown with the strangers, plants, then it is increasing resource allocation to the leaves. That means it is increasing its canopy area and giving shading effect to the competitors and enhancing its ability to acquire limited resources, that means light, or that is sunlight. So researchers have found that this plant yellow geolwood is communicating with its relatives with the help of root. So if it recognize its kin or its relatives, then it will be showing no shading effect. But if it is unable to communicate with the root, with the stranger, then it will be showing that shading effect. So it is actually the example of altruism, but not the perfect example of green beard effect. And the scientist hasn't able to find the green beard gene in this plant. So there is a much more to discover about this plant. So is true altruism possible in human beings? So we have discussed in microorganisms and in plant, but is true altruism is possible in human beings? So this question is itself a complicated question, and it has puzzled philosophers and scientists. So it is obvious that we help people who are closely related. That means we help our family members and our cousins or the relatives, because we want to pass our gene or genetic materials to the next generation. That means we benefit our own gene. But what about the people helping who are not closely related, or even the animals or the strangers? So we human have sophisticated brain. That means we have developed brain, and so have conscious intention of promoting some level of benefit to ourselves. So while helping others, while helping strangers, there is something benefit that lies inside us. That means if we are acting selflessly, that means if we are not expecting help from that stranger, but there is something benefit for us, because we feel good after helping, we feel good after donating the money, or we feel good after helping the needy peoples. So there is something inherited benefit inside us, which makes the altruism not true in human case. So reason why we help people. So there are several reasons why people help each other. The first one is evolution. That means to pass the genetic materials to the next generation by helping its own family members and relatives. And the brain-based rewards. That means we get happy. We minimize the negative impact in our brain by helping the strangers. And the environment. So the children grown in environment we see the altruistic behavior of the peoples, then that children is likely to help or show altruistic behavior in future. So and also the social norms. So in society, we live in society, so we are there are tradition and the behaviors guided by the society norms. So we feel pressurized to help each other because we are living in the society. And there is a reciprocal altruism that means